And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, friends and traders. Welcome to the Market Recap. I'm Dan Hodgman. It is Tuesday, November 2nd. I hope you all had a wonderful day. Really, the move was on the open. When you look at these stock markets, it really took off there on the open for us today, and then got a little quiet until the last hour and a half or so. Yeah, crude oil opening up this morning at settlement price, working its way down towards overnight lows, rallying back to settlement price, and holding out dead center there. So really a nice inside day there. Equities, S&Ps opened up this morning, didn't have the huge pop that Nasdaq did, but had a nice strong move off the open, but continued that grind higher, back to making all-time highs. Same with the Nasdaq. Nasdaq took off, though, fast on the open and really struggled to make new highs post-open there. That market really took off fast there. And then we got a little choppy. Really a tight range throughout the rest of the day. Post 9 a.m., you saw a really tight range there. Gold, choppy day to the downside, rotates from settlement price right down to yesterday's range. Euro really didn't do anything. From about 10 o'clock this morning on, there's not really much to say. And the 10-year note comes and checks yesterday's regular trading hour high off the open. Does not trade inside range, rather takes off to the upside, making highs for the day right around 10 o'clock this morning. Felix, good to see you. Bill, Spencer, David, Ocean. When can Step 2 combines not trade on Wednesday? For numbers, well, off the top of my head, tomorrow we're going to have crude number at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, and then the Fed at 1 p.m. Central Time. I don't have the actual calendar in front of me. You can find the calendar right on topstep.com. Scroll to the bottom. There is a calendar of events you must be flat for. You can also find it in the Help Center, as well as our weekly kickoff email that goes out every Sunday. So there's a lot of different sources to find it. I don't know every specific one right off the top of my head, so it's all in that email. I recommend taking a look at that one. Vince, good to see you. Ricardo and Spencer, 1 minute before, 1 minute after. Yes. Yeah, always 1 minute before, 1 minute after. So just really my biggest thing, check the website. There's a calendar on there. Can't stress that one enough. That's where everything's based off of. So just check on that one. Also, the email that goes out every Sunday, our weekly kickoff email, with all the goodies in there. That one has it as well. So make sure you check those out too. I would recommend checking them out every single morning just to verify. All right, things going on in the world. What do we got going on here? Well, you've got Climate Summit going on. I believe President Biden took some questions today. Facebook shutting down facial recognition. That's kind of the major stuff. I think the big talk right now is just what's going on with Tesla, right? Elon Musk came out and said, hey, no deal's been signed, but Hertz is saying, well, we're taking delivery on cars. We've all heard about this Tesla Hertz mega deal that's going on. I definitely recommend reading into that, because that's going to be a wild one. And you know what? We're seeing it already in Tesla stock. Excuse me, continues to skyrocket. And of course, my chart just froze up on me here. But continues to take off to the upside here. That Tesla stock back over $1,000. Tanya, good to see you. Spencer, I don't like trading FOMC day at all. Neither do I. Not when I'm outrights. I won't trade those types of days in and outright very often. Maybe a little bit off the open or something. But it creates volatility, right? What's going to happen tomorrow? Well, everyone's right now preparing for the Fed's tapering. So they're going to talk a lot about this tapering of assets, what they're doing, what they're going to be buying, what they're going to be releasing. There's going to be a lot of that conversation going on tomorrow. And it could send things lower, could send things higher. We really have no idea at this point. So I do know a lot of people take those major news days off. So you got to be cautious. Yeah, levels being broken for sure. So a day like tomorrow, I can tell you I may do a little bit, but I'm not going to be doing a whole lot, that's for sure. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these charts, see what we got going on here today. All right. One moment as I fix this. Here we go. As always, we're starting with our crude oil market. Crude oil settled yesterday at 84.05. 84.05. Market opens up right at settlement price and right at yesterday's point of control. This is a great opportunity. We're trading with inside value from yesterday, so we have an opportunity to take this trade back inside and rotate to the high side. We want to see momentum to the upside on the open. Does not happen, right? As we look here, this market off the open makes no attempt to rotate back higher. What's that telling us? It's telling us you got to look to the short side. Look for this market to go make new lows. And it did exactly that. So to me, this was a quick indication. That first minute, we recognized it. We saw this market wasn't moving higher. Great chance for a short. Let's see if we can roll this thing back to the downside and possibly check those overnight lows. We did exactly that in the first half hour. We rotate from 84.10 all the way down to 83.05. Quick $1,000 a contract in the first half hour of the day. Lock that in and get the heck out and call it a day. Nice when you can call it a day after the first half hour. Next, we're going to take a look at the S&P 500. So S&P 500 opens up this morning. Now, here's what I loved. It caught a lot of people, I'm sure. Market rotates right towards Sunday night swing high. And we start to see this market reject a little bit, right? We started to see it fading off and possibly rotating back towards the inside. Psychologically, fundamentally, we're starting to think, hey, makes sense. Let's see this thing rotate back inside. We got FOMC coming tomorrow. Historically, that Tuesday before Fed, things get a little quiet as we await the Fed number. Not the case. That market finally breaks through and continues on all the way up to 46.27. But once that market rotated back inside, we can look back at the same area right down here, right around this, let's call it 46.16 level or value low here today. We can look at this as our opportunity to see if we can maintain rotation back to the upside, right? This is just a pullback and a directional move. Where does it pull back to? It pulls back to pivotal levels, locations where we saw the market slow up, trying to break through prior swing highs. We're liking this. This is a good opportunity to look for weakness in a trending market. So to me, this was really a great trade right here. I'm hesitant off the open because we did have that fake out to the downside, did not make it to value, did not make it to point of control. Instead, we rotated higher. Next, let's look over at the Nasdaq, which of course I somehow clicked out of that. Now, Nasdaq. Big upside move. First thing we're looking at, settlement price, 15,894 quarter. 15,894 quarter. Here we are. 94 quarter right here. This is what I'm thinking. Market's moving higher. We break out, we close the gap right to settlement price. I'm looking, I think a lot of us are probably thinking the same thing. Let's look to see if this market holds up as we approach. And it did a couple times, right? You're sitting there, you're watching it on that shorter time frame. You're starting to see it's hitting up a little bit. And finally, we're thinking maybe we're going to get that rotation back to the inside. Maybe we'll rotate back into value from yesterday. As soon as it broke through yesterday's swing high, overnight swing high, Sunday night swing high, as soon as we broke through that, it was off to the races. So let's say we miss this entire move. To me, our chance comes as soon as this market rotates back lower, comes and checks point settlement price right here. That was a chance. All right, we are recognizing markets making trend to the upside. We got a really strong, nice pullback, rotating higher. Then throughout the day, basically anytime the market came right up here by that 955 we'll call it. Every time the market came up by 955, we hit the wall. You saw that high volume holding. We got end of day point of control at 55 as well. Every time it came up, it rotated back inside. Every time it came up, rotated back inside. And that's something you start to recognize as the day goes on. You're looking at that. What levels is this market reacting at? And we're seeing really good chances to catch those shorts maybe and rotation to the low side, or as we approach towards the end of the day, this was the next chance, in my opinion, rotating right down to moving averages. That's a chance for us to take a long to see if we can get it rotated right back up towards that 55, and we're ending our day right at 53. Next, let's go ahead and look at the gold market. Like we said, choppy, very difficult chop day. Market struggled to break outside of value from yesterday, broke outside of value, and then we saw rotation to the low side. I don't have a lot to say when this market is whipsawing all over the place for the majority of the day until it finally died out. Really no directional move here. Really tough trade. And then the same is going to apply for the euro here. Euro, extremely quiet. We saw big trend yesterday. We watched it in the overnight session. This to me is where I'm looking for rotation to the downside. I'm watching my overnight. We never made any move towards the upside. We never made an attempt to come check point of control up here at 116.33 half, right? We never made that attempt. So we want to look inside, see if we can get this market to rotate inside and possibly check value from yesterday. It finally broke inside value. Once we saw it accept in value, it rotated back higher, and here was our chance. We rotated right back to value high. We've got a cheap shot right here to see if we can get this thing to rotate back lower, and it did exactly that. And lastly, let's look at the 10-year note. 10-year note actually sets up really nicely here off the open. Market breaks down, comes towards yesterday's regular trading hour or end of day swing high here, where we saw, how about that? We saw resistance in the overnight session yesterday, or last night, I can say. And then in the overnight session, once we finally broke through there, we started finding some support. So we've got what was once support, held support again off the open. This to me is where you can execute a nice long and say, let's see if we can get support to hold once again, and we can get the nice bounce. And it did. Really a great opportunity off the open as it rotated towards a lower level. Key indication looking at this thing in the overnight. Right down here, moved one tick through, or a half a point through. Finally pressed higher, and really a good chance there. So those are our markets here today. Some good opportunity. I hope you guys are able to find some of that there. And again, tomorrow is FOMC, so be cautious if you're taking the day. Nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people are. I know a lot of people that won't be trading tomorrow. So just something to think about. And PK, good to see you as well. All right. What do we got going on? Well, our Bitcoin, that is not my Bitcoin chart. Our Bitcoin, 63,760 bucks a coin. How about that? What else do we got? Our Airbnb stock down a little bit here today, $172.87. GameStop holding strong above 200. Tried to dip below, opened up right at it, dipped down to about $192 a share, but ending the day up at $206.99. AMC's $38.79. So a little bit of an uptick here for that one today. Tesla down a little bit. $1,171.97. Robinhood finally got a little bit of life here today. Needed it. It was kind of a choppy day for it all around, but $34.99 up about 0.5%. And lastly, VIX, no surprise here. Stocks are up. VIX is down 16 even on that. All right, so tomorrow, remember, it is still earnings season. So tomorrow is Wednesday. You got Qualcomm, CVS, Booking, Equinox, Humana, MetLife, Marriott, Exelon, EA Sports, just to name a few. Those will all be coming out tomorrow. No huge market shake, but definitely always worth keeping our eyes on the earnings reports there. And then economics releases tomorrow. You got ADP, 7:15 a.m. Central Time. You're going to have crude number at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. And the Fed, FOMC, at 1 p.m. Central Time. Spencer, I bought my first 5 Bitcoin at $17 and was smug when I sold it all. A few months later at $242. Hey, a win's a win. I'll tell you, I'll give you one, Spencer. Not to one up yet, but because I couldn't figure out how to buy the darn thing. Back in 2011, I was leaving for the Marine Corps. I had $1,000 that I was going to put into something for my 5 years in, and that was the plan. And gentleman named Artie, I'm not going to say his last name, told me back in 2010, 2011 to go ahead and buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. I was trading at about $1, $2 a coin at the time. I couldn't figure out how to buy it, so I said, screw it. I bought some miscellaneous index fund or something, and not really worth looking at, but 1,000 Bitcoin approximately. It was like 840 Bitcoin at the time that I was looking at. I could have bought with my $1,000. And man, oh man, that's the one I kicked myself for. All right. That's kind of about everything. We touched on economic events, earnings, and last but not least, this date in history. We got a couple good ones. The first one, Howard Hughes' Spruce Goose went up into flight on this day in 1947. Biggest plane of all time. We've probably all seen videos of that thing taking off and coming right back down. Other than that, this one's kind of cool. This was on this day in 2000 was the first ever residential crew to arrive and board the International Space Station. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign on out. John will be back tomorrow morning, 7:45 a.m. Central Time. So until then, stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well.